Hey there, fellow Whovians. I'm Stu Jackson, but before we go into today's episode, we need to go to Red Alert because this video contains spoilers for the Doctor Who episode, The Interstellar Song Contest. So if you haven't seen Season 2, Episode 6 yet, pause this video, go watch it, then come back to see if you agree with this week's picks. So imagine Eurovision in space and everything goes horribly wrong. That's exactly the roller coaster ride this episode delivers. A fun, campy singing contest suddenly turns into a hostage crisis with a horned terrorist and a frozen audience. On top of that, we get a shock cameo from the Doctor's very first companion, his granddaughter Susan Foreman. Let's unpack it all. The big plot beats, the hoorays, the boo-hoos, and the clues about Mrs. Flood's true identity and what it means for the finale. So first of all, the big update. Yes, Mrs. Flood really is the Rani. In a mid-credit scene, the mysterious old woman is revived and immediately reveals herself as a time lady. She literally bi-generates into two versions of the Rani, the Doctor's classic nemesis, confirming a long-time fan theory. Showrunner Russell T Davies has since flat out said that Mrs. Flood was the Rani all along. So no more mystery. Anita Dobson's Mrs. Flood was secretly the renegade Time Lord villain, now reunited in two bodies and plotting revenge. But more about Mrs. Flood, or the Rani, later. Here's what happened in the episode in brief. The TARDIS arrives at the Harmony Arena in 2925 for the 803rd Interstellar Song Contest, a glittering space Eurovision. Celebrity host Rylan Clark is miraculously thawed from cryogenic sleep each year to MC. Even Graham Norton turns up later on. Belinda and the Doctor decide to stay and enjoy the show along with the 3 trillion strong audience. Unbeknownst to everyone, a horned hellion named Kid, played by Freddie Fox, has infiltrated the control room. He declares phase 1 of his plan and takes over the drone guard security bots. He then goes on to shut off the arena's air shield. In an instant, the audience and contestants, over 100,000 people, are ejected into space without anything to stop them. Everyone floats in vacuum, instantly frozen, held in a sort of mavity shell. Remember the show's running gag for Gravity? Only the VIP pods, with Belinda and some aliens, stay pressurized. The Doctor, the TARDIS, and the rest of the crowd are helplessly drifting in space as the power cuts. With the arena evacuated, Kid gloats and announces his next phase, preparing a deadly Delta Ray weapon. The Doctor, revived by what appears to be a psychic message from his granddaughter Susan, uses a glitter cannon, of all things, to re-enter the arena and recruits Gary and Mike to help him. After working out the terrorist plot and a stern warning to Kid that he has put ice in the Doctor's heart, he makes his way to the control room and begins torturing him. One of the most brutal displays we've seen from the Doctor. At that climactic moment, visions of Susan Foreman again appear to the Doctor with pleas to snap him out of it just before he kills Kid. Once Belinda arrives, the Doctor does pull back at the last second. Working with Gary and Mike, the Doctor brings the entire audience back down and revives them. And after the Doctor and Belinda leave, Gary and Mike manage to thaw one more frozen person. It's Mrs. Flood, who revives and instantly asks if the Doctor is gone or not. When she learns he's vanished, she sighs in relief that it's safe now. Mrs. Flood's double brainstem had frozen, which is fatal apparently for a time lady, so she attempts to regenerate. Instead, in a twist, she bigenerates and splits into two beings, the original Mrs. Flood and a bolder new character. The newcomer announces, "Our name is the Rani." Or she's become a Rani, well, I'm the Rani, the definite article, so to speak. The new Rani version grabs the Vindicator readings from Mrs. Flood and begins to leave. The Rani says of the Doctor that she will bring him absolute terror. And with that ominous promise, we're set up for the finale. So here's our hoorays. What worked in the episode? First of all, Susan Foreman returns. Bringing Carol and Ford back as Susan was a genuine thrill for long-time fans like myself. Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter from the very first episode way back in 1963, appears at the critical moment and literally saves him. Her brief vision, saying, "Grandfather, go back," not only serves as his conscience, it also re-establishes her place in canon after decades. There Susan was, on what looked like the TARDIS from the 1960s, pulling him out of his freeze. It's a moving nod to the show's history and a great payoff for fans who've been asking where Susan is for years. Next hooray is big themes. Writer Juno Dawson cleverly uses this Eurovision setting to tackle racism and exploitation. We see an entire species, the Hellions, being dehumanized for financial gain and people being surgically mutilated to fit in. This episode tackled themes like the planet's exploitation and racist attitudes to an entire species, and then reminded us that none of that justifies mass murder. In short, the script earned its darkness by showing bigotry morphing into terrorism. And the Doctor rightly calls out kids' cold, filthy heart, making the metaphor brave and topical. Our next hooray is the mavity continuity gag. Call it fan service, but I'm loving the running gravity joke. The Doctor Who 60th anniversary special, Wild Blue Yonder, introduced a gag where Isaac Newton misnames gravity as mavity. This episode continues using mavity to mean gravity. Even Nina mentions the mavity shell, keeping everyone frozen. It's a silly wink to the Lord that's delighting long-time viewers, and I, for one, am keen to see where it goes. Our next hooray is Freddie Fox as Kid. Now, Freddie Fox injects real charisma into the villain Kid. He's terrifying yet oddly sympathetic as a devious revolutionary, and he plays the role full tilt. He drives the Doctor into murderous rage effortlessly, and Fox himself describes him as a charismatic, devious revolutionary leader. In interviews, Fox even teases that the episode is camp, 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 and will blow the audience's minds. And you can see why. His intensity fuels the episode's tension, and watching Fox trade barbs with Gatwa's Doctor is a highlight. If nothing else, we got to see one of Gatwa's most ferocious scenes with an actor who clearly relished the challenge. However, there are some boo-hoos, things that didn't work. The first one is the Rylan Clark cameo. Including a British pop host, Rylan Clark as himself was a polarising choice. On one hand, it's campy fun to see him joking about his fame. On the other hand, it feels very of the moment and a bit awkward. Inserting a real-life celebrity like this can instantly date an episode and even feel a bit cringe-worthy. In other words, older and international viewers might scratch their heads. Rylan and Graham Norton did fine acting, but a Eurovision parody didn't need a TV presenter's side plot to work. It mostly just padded the runtime. A quick side note here. I personally had to Google who Rylan Clark was, not being someone who's into reality TV. Our second boohoo is the Doctor's rage. Now, shooting Gatwa giving the Doctor a truly villainous turn was dramatic, but many people felt it wasn't set up very well. The shift from fun contest to live torture was jarring. His ice in my heart moment felt kind of petty, since it suggests that the Doctor's fury was triggered by being briefly frozen himself. In short, Gatwa certainly tried, but for me, his rage performance didn't feel genuine, and the writing didn't quite justify the Doctor's brutal turn. Normally, Ncuti's acting is stellar, but his anger left me disappointed, particularly when you compare him to Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi. Now, moving on to more about Mrs. Flood and theories as to where the episode will go. We now know that Mrs. Flood is the Rani. The episode itself makes it very clear when she bi-generates, her new self explicitly introduces herself as the Rani. The official episode guide even says that her true nature is revealed in mid-credits as an incarnation of the Time Lady known as the Rani. In universe, this explains why Mrs. Flood keeps popping up near the TARDIS. She's been tracking the Doctor all series. Russell T Davies has acknowledged fans got it right. Mrs. Flood is indeed the Rani, and she has split into two: Anita Dobson's Rani and Archie Punjabi's Rani. But what is her connection with the Earth being destroyed? The Rani's interest in the Vindicator readings is a huge clue. Early in the episode, the Doctor connects the Vindicator, the device that's hoping to get them home, and Mrs. Flood quietly copies its readings. By the end, the Rani makes sure her new self has those readings. She literally takes the device from Mrs. Flood. It looks like the Rani plans to use the Vindicator for her own scheme. Fan theories are already flying. Maybe she wants to transport something or someone across time. Could she even be plotting to bring Gallifrey back? We'll have to see, but clearly the Vindicator is central to her master plan. Finally, the Susan visions suggest something wild. Susan might still be alive somewhere via a psychic link. The official write-up even notes her survival past the Time War, implying she's contacting the Doctor from afar. So what does that have to do with the Rani? Well, both Susan and the Rani are Gallifreyan, two survivors from the Doctor's past. It's tempting to speculate that the Rani could have known of Susan's fate, or even have had a hand in it. Maybe Susan's pleas were routed through Gallifreyan technology, or someone like the Rani. We don't have any proof yet, but it's a juicy possibility. Perhaps the Rani and Susan will collide in the finale, or perhaps the Rani's schemes involve something left of Gallifrey. In any case, the show is clearly tying Susan's return to Gallifrey's mystery, and the Rani is right at the centre of that web now. The Interstellar Song Contest definitely swung for the fences. It gave us spectacle, real danger, and surprise returns, but also some clunkers too. What did you think? Drop your reactions below. If you want more deep dives and a guess at what happens next after Wishworld lands, make sure you hit subscribe. We'll be back for the final 2 episodes of Season 2, so buckle up for the TARDIS cliffhanger and the ultimate showdown with the Rani. See you next time on Hailing Frequencies.